Good morning, everybody. I'm here, first of all, to wish you an amazing morning and an amazing day and an amazing week. But I'm also here to deliver a very important message to everybody here and listening. And the reason that I feel this message is important is because seeing that we're a young kahila and all of our marriages are young institutions, we do not yet have the depth to our relationships of actually of 10, 20, 30, 40 years of becoming one and of giving to each other. So our relationships are amazing, Baruch Hashem, but at the same time, we are, and still we could say we're still somewhat in the building stages of our relationships, and therefore, the situation that Klal Yisrael finds itself in right now, and that we all find ourselves in right now, in which that we are all homebound, is very volatile, and it is actually it could be an incredible time of building, or it could be a severely serious, critical, dangerous time. And the reason is because, it's pretty healthy that the male of the house goes to work every day and gives the female time, to separation. And it's amazing. I want you to spend as much time as you could together, but you have to understand that being cooped up in the same house together, day in, day out, for a week, 2 weeks, can be difficult. Therefore, it is extremely imperative, I cannot understate this, that you are aware of the possibility for tension to exist in such a situation. If a person wants to succeed in his marriage in the next 2 weeks, or the amount of time that this situation continues, there has to be a 100% conscious choice to have a good marriage. You have to wake up in the morning and ask yourself the question, do I want a good marriage? Ask yourself the question right now, do you want a good marriage? Do you want a good marriage? That's a very important question, because if you don't take this question and cognitively approach your marriage in the next 2 weeks, I guarantee you there's going to be problems. Unless you both have your own screen and you're watching Netflix in different parts of the house, maybe. But if you're in the same house and you're going to be interacting with each other for a long time, you really, really must take this next 2 weeks seriously. It could be a time of incredible building. You could add 5 years of positive marriage interactions in the next 2 weeks, or you could add 5 years of terrible marriage interactions in the next 2 weeks. All you have to do is approach the next 2 weeks cognitively knowing that there's a challenge. If you cognitively approach the next 2 weeks that there's a challenge, then you will be successful. So how do you what are you supposed to do in the next 2 weeks? In the next 2 weeks, or the amount of time that this lasts, you must make a decision. I am not going to get upset at my spouse. You must make a cognitive decision that I will go way, way over and above and beyond the bounds of normal of what unfortunately is normal spousal behavior. You walk into if both of you should be aware, both husband and wife. And please, if you're listening to this, please have your wife listen to it, or your husband listen to this as well. You have to both be fully aware of the challenges that can exist of living together cooped up in the same house. You have to go ahead, and I'm not exaggerating when I say the following things. For the next 2 weeks, every time your spouse walks into the room, you should stand up. Honor her more than yourself. You look at her and go beyond, and otherwise disaster can happen. Really, disaster can happen. You have to be extremely positive, extremely nice. Pretend you're an actor. Pretend that you are on date 1 and you are trying to woo the girl of your dreams. This is how you have to act to your spouse in the next 2 weeks. Because if you don't do this, a spiral can happen. All you need is one nasty comment and then another nasty comment. If you chas v'shalom get into a matzav of silent treatment and you're all cooped up in the same house, it could be explosive, literally explosive. So therefore, you have to go over, way over and above and beyond. Acting, make it like acting. And let me tell you something. If you act, this is the way it works. This is the picture. What happens is you pretend to give super honor to your wife, not facetiously, but pretend that you're an actor. Pretend that you're an actor. Say you imagine you bring breakfast in bed. Here you are, my honey. Here you are, and you go ahead. You know what's going to happen? She's going to respond, or he's going to respond. Whoever starts first is going to respond, because if you are treated properly, you respond nicely, and then you're going to feel even better because you just respond nicely. Now, even though the first act was fake, but the second one wasn't so fake. Maybe the first act, let's say, was 70% fake. The second act is she's going to respond with, "Oh, that's so nice," and that was a 50% fake. You're going to respond with a 40% fake. Eventually, you will have full interactions of 100% real, of really giving honor and love to each other. And if a person doesn't do this, so then the first day will be manageable, the second day will be bearable, the third day will be horrible. That's what's going to happen. It's going to be a downward spiral. So you're in control of whether or not we're having a downward spiral or an upward spiral. The only person in control is you. And somebody has to take the first step to make that fake move. Somebody has to be the first one to stand up and say, "Good morning, how are you, my love?" You have to go ahead and give everything you have to jam Shalom Bayis in. If you don't do that, chas v'shalom, who knows what can happen? It could be a very, very not geshmaka 2 weeks. And if you go ahead and you take that initiative, even though sometimes people are upset, you said that comment to me or whatever, write it down in a book. Say, "I'm very upset because you said that comment to me. I will scream at you in 2 weeks," and tape it out. And don't forget to scream at him. In 2 weeks, you will scream at him. Good. You don't forget it. Put it in your wallet, and 2 weeks later you'll take it out and you'll see if you want to scream then. But for now, we're acting. We're saying, both of you have to go ahead and act. And I guarantee you, after the first half an hour of acting, it's not going to be acting anymore. You will honestly generate real love and real Shalom Bayis. Working like this is going to take work. I'm not saying it's easy. It's going to take acting skills. You have to go to Hollywood. You have to pretend. But if you go ahead and act for the first couple hours, then it's going to become real. It's going to become natural. You could build 5 years of love over here in this coming 2 weeks. Or you could build 5 years of setting up for therapy. So please do me a favor, and everybody go ahead and pretend to be amazing spouses. Pretend, even if you have a great marriage up until now, that's amazing. But nevertheless, in the next 2 weeks, go way, way over, not just a little bit over and above and beyond. Go way, way over. If an example is standing up when she comes in, stand up. If an example, way, way over, above and beyond the bounds of what is normal honor and love, and go all the way in order for you to maintain, and not only maintain, but super build. This coming 2 weeks is a difficult time, but it could be massive building as long as you approach things right. And like we have said many times, everything is an approach. Everything is always attitude. You know how many weddings there were in the past couple weeks with just 10 people? It's all attitude. If you have a smiling kala and a smiling chassan, and they laugh about the situation, and they're shining with happiness and enthusiasm and love, who cares that there's not 150 or 200 or 500 people there? Who cares that there's not a 15 people band? You can have a beautiful situation. It's your attitude. Everything's your attitude. Always. Remember that. But please do me a favor in the coming 2 weeks. Don't fall into the trap of where Shalom Bayis eating up, unfortunately, many households. You go ahead, honor your spouse, love your spouse, doing actions that some might think are crazy. You're bringing her breakfast in bed since when? Bring her breakfast in bed. Do that. Go ahead, and if you can get a rose, get a rose. If you can't find any rose, maybe take some grass from outside. Actually, don't do that. But you want to go ahead and send her an e-card. Find something to go above and beyond. This is your job in the coming 2 weeks. You want to know what your job is? Stay indoors and increase the Shalom Bayis. Have a great and hatzlacha Rabbah and everything.